Welcome to the Engage for More podcast. We're excited that you're joining us today. We exist to encourage you to engage and experience the more that Jesus came to offer you. And if you've been listening, you know that in 2025, we really want to just take that to a new level and a deeper level. Yeah. And on episode number 162, we challenged you. We offered a challenge and challenged you to tell 25 people about Jesus. Yeah. And so we're just wondering how you're doing. Don't forget that challenge. Stay the course.
That's right.
Somebody is waiting for you to ask the simple question, hey, can I tell you about Jesus? Can I just tell you a little something about him? And it will never, all they can do is say, no thanks. Right? So it can't hurt anything, but you might just find that somebody finds their way to him and it changes their life forevermore. So do it.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm Pam Pegram and I'm hanging out with my friend.
Hi, I'm Gwen Neal, and we're so excited that you've decided to join us here today as we talk about our true identity and walking in that. And by that, we mean living in it. So this entire month of January, we've been talking about identity.
Yes.
Who are we? And we learned in our first session back January 13th that we are daughters of the King, created in God's image.
Yes.
And from there we went to...
That should change everything.
It should. So if you've been acting like a loser...
Stop it. Stop it right now.
Yeah.
Right? Yes,
if you've been believing the lie that you can't win, that you can't get ahead, that, all of your New Year's resolutions have you've thrown them away.
Or you're just so
win.
Overwhelmed. Life is so hard. It's just too much. I just have too many things going on. You don't have to live overwhelmed. No. We promise. Says Gwen Neal, who runs a school and a coaching practice and has a podcast and is part of a nonprofit. And
all the things
going on. And it really has a lot to do with how you think.
That's right.
How you think.
Everything.
Yes. And so God wants to change that. He wants to change how you think. Like, life doesn't have to be so hard.
Right.
And when you walk in your true identity, then things aren't as hard for you as they are when you're not.
Yeah.
And I can just testify. I'm in a really hard season.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the hardest seasons I've been in. And I don't have to crawl under a rock. I don't have to lay in my bed and cry. I don't have to be discouraged and defeated. I can place every situation, every problem, every person, everything that I care about in his hands.
Yes.
And I can pray for his will to be done, and I can trust him. And that is a choice that I can make because I am a daughter of the King.
Right. And who is our King? He is faithful.
Yes.
He is...
And just.
And he lavishes us. I think you said that a podcast ago.
Yes.
He lavishes us.
His love all over us.
Yes.
It's just dripping right off the tip of your nose. He does love us so. Yes.
We are.
And he is faithful and good. And, I can also testify in hard seasons where I've been through in my life in the past that when you're in it, it's like, God, what are you doing? Like, really, Lord, what is this about? And then once you're on the other side of it and you look back, you can see how he's using it for good, even when you couldn't even imagine how he possibly could.
That's right.
And he can use it in ways that you never imagined.
Right. And it's all we keep in mind, it's for his glory. He gets the glory.
For his glory and for our good. Yes. I wrote that. I have a truth journal.
That's right.
And I write truths in my truth journal. And he is at work doing what is best for his glory and for my good.
Yeah.
I can stand firm on that.
That's right. That's right. That's the truth.
Even when I don't understand it. Yeah. I can trust him in that. So that's important. So how do we walk every single day in our true identity?
Well, Paul gives us a good lesson on that in Ephesians 4 and 5. And when you have time during your devotion time or whatever, I encourage you to read Ephesians, all of it, but especially these two chapters. If you need to know, okay, I am a believer. I believe I'm a daughter of the King. How do I live that? And that's what we mean when we say walking in your true identity. We mean that you need to be living that, experiencing it. It's not just something you say. It's not just something you declare. It is. It's your state of being.
Yes.
From this moment on. And he talks about this regarding your previous way of life.
Yes.
You no longer operate the way you used to do pre-Jesus. So
yes, because you're a new creation.
Yes.
Like you don't do things the old way anymore.
You don't think the old way. You don't respond the old way. What was that you told me a couple of years ago? There was a difference in responding and...
Instead of reacting, respond in the appropriate way.
Right.
So instead of being reactionary all the time, then you should choose to respond the way that God would have you to respond.
Yes.
You know, and it's funny because I can remember I heard somebody train or talk on this, and one of my kids, I'm not even going to say which, I'm not even going to give any hints as to who it was. Yeah. But anyway, I'd get in so much trouble. But one of them announced to me that oral sex was not really sex. And so I wanted to react to that statement in a very dramatic way, right? But I had just heard somebody teach on that. And so I was able to respond and say, well, tell me why you would say that. And be able to have a conversation so that I could pour truth into her. And so when we are reactionary, when people tell us things and we react in a way that shames them or blames them or makes them feel like they're in trouble, you know, then they stop coming to us. Yes. And so that's really not what we're supposed to be. Now, it doesn't mean that we act like everything's okay, because we're to tell the truth in love. Right. In love. And so we do need to be able to do that. But if we respond, then we have an opportunity to tell the truth in love.
Yes. Yes, we do. And I keep that in mind in situations where I want to react. And that's the old Gwen. And instead, I take a moment now, and Pam taught me this. Pause, breathe. You know, I may go get a cup of coffee, or just the walking away for 2 to 3 seconds to gather myself and then coming back. Because think about it. How many times have we disappointed the Lord?
Oh, too many to count.
Yeah, but he holds true to his character.
Yes, he does.
We're supposed to hold true to his character in us, and it's evolving, it's developing. We're becoming more and more mature and more spiritually adult-like. The closer we get to him, it burns off all the yuck that's in us. So we should be able to hold conversations even when we are on the inside really upset and angry or hurt by a statement or a situation or a circumstance, to say, Lord, let your grace come out. We should humble ourselves. That's walking in our true identity, being able to speak the truth in love, not taking offense. There's a whole book. The Bait of Satan. Which is, you know, being offended. You hurt my feelings. You know, get over yourself. Get over your feelings. And not taking offense and things. But anyway, back to walking in your true identity. Paul teaches us that we get rid of the hardness in our hearts. We begin to transform. How? By the renewing of our minds. How does that work? Because we're no longer entertaining the thoughts that bring us down. You have a choice. Pam told us that earlier, to rise above those thoughts. Really, you need to cast them out. not just rise above them, but cast them out. And then you have to replace them with the truth. And last year, if you purchased Pam's Truth Journal, you've got a book right now that should be chock full of God's truth, where you can go and take that lie that the enemy is whispering, that you're not good enough, that you'll never get out of debt, that you won't have a new house, or your husband's going to leave you for a younger, fresher version. No, all of those are lies. Here's what God says. And sometimes we need that physical. When we can't go grab our ratted-tatted Bible, we can grab that Truth Journal and find exactly what speaks specifically to us.
You know, what I have found about that, it's been really interesting even recently. One thing is that is super cool is that when a hard season comes, you will find that God has had you writing the truth down that you're going to need for the hard season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I can't believe that's what I wrote right days before this, you know? And so that's super cool. But I also found that during like times when you're on the mountain, right? When you're like, oh, Lord, I hear you. I feel you. This is so good. I'm just writing these things in my truth journal. Oh, I love that truth. Oh, this was so good. And I'm just enjoying that and writing them in different colors and making it so pretty, right?
Yeah.
But then when hard times come, I'm reading my truth journal over and over. Like I'm spending more time reading than I am writing. And so that's just really important to know, you know, that's, and what I had written in there are the truths that I need. And it's cool how God does that, you know, that he doesn't just, like you don't just write random things in there and you've got to search through those truths to find it. If you are leaning into your relationship with the Lord and listening to him, he will have you write down the exact scripture that you're going to have to stand on.
Yes, he will.
Yeah.
Yes, he will. That's good stuff right there. Okay. So the benefits of walking in our true identity is we get to be imitators of God. We get to copy him. He's our leader. He's our role model, if you will, and follow his examples as well-beloved children. And that's who you are. And we cannot stress that enough. He has lavished his love. You are well-beloved girls. And we imitate the Father. So what came to mind was, remember in The Lion King with Mufasa and what's the baby's name? The lion cub's name? Simba. Okay. Thank you. So when Mufasa had stepped and it was muddy and he had walked on, Simba came behind him and he put his paw in the footprint of his dad's, and he saw just the difference in the size and living up to that. Well, eventually, over time, his paw was just as large as his dad's. That was just a very pivotal visual for me in imitating my father. I should be taking those same steps. That means I need to be the bigger person every time.
Yes.
I need to respond in love every time. I need to pay my tithes every time.
Yes.
Whatever
that's so
it
good.
is.
And, you know, like even talking about love, I think we conform to the world and we listen to things like, first I have to be able to trust her to love her. Like, I don't know her well enough to love her. Like, I don't even know if I like her yet. Like, I haven't determined yet if I like her. Like, we say things like that. That's what the world says.
Yeah.
But God says love one another, right? He doesn't say, well, love them once they prove themselves to be worthy of your love.
Yeah.
There is nowhere that it says that. So we are to love one another. Like we are to be loving toward each other. I mean, you've even laughed on here before because I'm like, I love you. Okay, bye. I love you. like I don't get off the phone with Gwen without saying I love you.
Not.
I mean, I just do not. I love Gwen, and I tell her every time I talk to her that I love her. And that's a choice that we get to make.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the fact that you're so precious. You are so precious, and you're totally worthy of that. But it's because I choose to love, and because we're commanded to love. And so we can love out of the overflow.
Yes.
Like he's lavished this love on us. So it's just like pouring over, right?
Yeah.
And so if we are living loved,
Right.
then we can love other people.
That's right. And what that does, and she doesn't even know this, is I've started doing that with everyone else. I love you. I love you. You know, bye. I love you. Like all the time, not just with my family, but with friends, you know, close friends, distant friends, employees. I love you. And of course they're taken off guard, you know, that's weird, you know. But now it's the norm. Why? Because Pam made it the norm. So emulating her, and Paul teaches that, follow me as I follow Christ. Well, I'm
so
not.
Good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm following as I see Pam implement characteristics of Jesus. I emulate that.
And ditto. I mean, I do with you too. Like one thing I've learned from Gwen too is that sometimes she's just quiet. And I know that there's something she could say about that, but she's being very quiet.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And she's waiting until God tells her how to address that situation. And so I've sat and watched her do that. And so now I catch me doing that.
Really?
And I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait on you.
That's right. That's right. And that was a lesson I learned, like in marriage. I don't have to always give my opinion. I don't have to always tell Joel, you know, you missed the spot. And I can just be quiet. Yeah. And that gives God time to work as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. I love that. Okay, another thing that God is and does that we are to do is be truth tellers.
Yes.
Truth tellers. And I think we need to think about that in a lot of situations. If you are someone who loves to exaggerate or to say things are different than what they are, then correct that and start just telling the truth. You know, if you're embellishing, don't do that. That's not good. But also, if someone is saying something that's not true, and maybe it goes against God's word, or it really isn't what happened, or we know that's not right, you know, then we have a responsibility to tell the truth.
That's right.
And to say what is true. And so we should become truth tellers.
I like that.
And people should label us that. Well, let's ask Pam. I know she'll tell us the truth.
That's right.
Like they shouldn't say, hey, how can we lie about this? If they're asking you, hey, help us come up with a good lie, then maybe you don't have that reputation yet of being a truth teller. And so recognize that that's super important to tell the truth.
And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. My mom is one of few people that was just blatantly honest. And over the years, I came to depend on her to tell me the truth. If no one else in the whole world would tell me the truth, my mother would tell me the truth. Girl, you have ugly legs. You should not wear shorts like that. Or, you know, that's a good look, or this is how you should communicate your needs and desires to your husband, or interact with other employees. I could rely on her to tell me the truth.
Yes.
And people need to be able to rely on you to tell them the truth in love and a spirit of gentleness with a touch of humility thrown in.
Yes.
Because we can say it and it not be received, and it's all in how you deliver.
And then let's do one more that I can think of is in verse 31 where it says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, slander, as well as types of evil behavior. Instead be kind to each other, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you.
Yes.
So important.
So that tells us how to walk in our identity as Christians. Kindness, helping. Do you find yourself responding to needs of others?
Yeah.
Regardless of your relationship, if you see the need, are you responding in kindness, or are you gossiping about the need? Are you being mean? Nobody wants to be around a mean woman, let alone a mean girl.
Yes. So true.
Yeah.
So true. So we hope this has encouraged you today. We hope it's given you some things that maybe God has used to convict you of some things that maybe you're doing that really you don't need to be doing, because you are a daughter of the King. You are His beloved. He is yours. You don't have to act like the world. You don't have to look like them and dress like them and show up like them. You get to show up and be set apart so that He can use you for His glory and for His good.
That's right. Yeah. And this takes boldness.
Yes.
You have to be brave. And if you don't feel that inner confidence yet, may I suggest that you check us out.
Yes.
And we can help you with that through our coaching or one of our courses.
Yes. Okay. Hop over to engageformore.com to learn more, and we'll be back with you in a week.